Hello Mark, my name is Lydia and my student number is S04410056. The title of the speech is Why You Should Talk to Strangers by Q Star. I'm a sophomore at NCUE. There are things we say when we catch the eye of a stranger or a neighbor walking by. We say hello, how are you? It's a beautiful day. How do you feel? This sounds kind of meaningless, right? And in some ways they are. They have no semantic meaning. It doesn't matter how you are or what the day is like. They have something else. They have social meaning. What we mean when we say those things is I see you there. I'm obsessed with talking to strangers. I make eye contact, say hello, I offer help, I listen. I get all kinds of stories. About 7 years ago, I started documenting my experiences to try to figure out why. What I found was that something really beautiful was going on. This is almost poetic. These were really profound experiences. They were unexpected pleasures. They were genuine emotional connections. They were liberating moments. So one day I was standing on a corner waiting for the light to change, which I'm a New Yorker. So that means I was actually standing in the street on a storm drain, as if that could get me across faster. And there's an old man standing next to me. So he's wearing like a long overcoat and sort of an old man hat. And he looks like somebody from a movie. And he says to me, "Don't stand there. You might disappear." So this is absurd, right? But I did what he said. I stepped onto the sidewalk and he smiled and he said, "Good. You never know. I might have turned around and zoop, you're gone." This was weird and also really wonderful. He was so warm and he was so happy that he'd accepted me. He had this little bond. For a minute, I felt like my ex- existence as a person had been noticed. I was worth saving. The really sad thing is, in many parts of the world, we were raised to believe that strangers are dangerous by default. That we can't trust them, that they might hurt us. But most strangers aren't dangerous. We are uneasy around them because we have no context. We don't know what their intentions are. So instead of using our perceptions and making choices, we rely on these categories of stranger. I have a 4-year-old. When I say hello to people on the street, she asks me why. She says, do we know them? I say no. They are our neighbor. Are they our friend? No, it's just good to be friendly. I think twice every time I say that to her because I mean it. But as a woman, particularly, I know that not every stranger on the street has the best intentions. It is good to be friendly, and it is good to learn what not to be. But none of that means we have to be afraid. There are two huge benefits to using our senses instead of our fears. The first one is that it liberates us. When you think about it, using perception instead of categories is much easier said than done. Categories are something our brains use when it comes to people. It's sort of a shortcut for learning about them. We, we see male, female, young, old, black, brown, white, stranger, friend, and we use the information in that box. It is quick. It's quick. It's easy, and it's a road to pass. And it's a rule the best, and it means we're not thinking about people as individuals. I know an American researcher who travels frequently in Central Asia and Africa alone. She's entering into towns and cities as a complete stranger. She has no bonds, no connections. She's a foreigner. Her survival strategy is this: get one stranger to see you as a real individual person. If you can do that, it 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 will help our other people see you that way too. The second benefit of using our senses has to do with intimacy. I know it sounds a little counter. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, intimacy and strangers, but these quick interactions can lead to a feeling that sociologists call fleeting intimacy. So it's a brief experience that has emotional resonance and meaning. Has emotional resonance and meaning. It's a good feeling I got from being saved from the death trap of storm drained by the old man, or how I feel like part of a community when I talk to somebody on a train on the way to work. Sometimes it goes further. Researchers have found that people often feel more comfortable being honest and open about their inner selves with strangers than they do with their friends and their families, that they often feel more understood by strangers. This gets reported in the media with great limits. Strangers communicate better than spouses. It's a good headline, right? I think it entirely this point. Misses the point. The important thing about these studies is just significant these interactions can be, how this special form of closeness gives us something we need as much as we need our friends and our families. So, how is it possible that we communicate so well with strangers? There are two reasons. The first one is that it is a quick interaction. It has no consequences. It is easy to be honest with someone you are never going to see again, right? That makes sense. The second reason is where it gets more interesting. We have the best when it comes to people we are close to. We expect them to understand us. We assume they do. And we expect them to read our minds. So imagine you are at a party, and you can't believe that your friend or your spouse isn't speaking up on it, that you want to leave early, and you're thinking, I gave you the look. With a stranger, we have to start from scratch. We tell them the whole story, we explain who the people are, how we feel about them. We spell out all the inside jokes, and guess what? Sometimes they do understand us a little better. Okay, so now that we know that talking to stranger matters, how does it work? There are unwritten rules we tend to follow. The rules are very different depending on what country you are in, what cultures you are in. In most parts of the US, the baseline expectation in public is that we maintain a balance between safety and privacy. This is known as civil attention. So imagine two people are walking towards each other on the street. They glance at each other from distance. That is the civility, the acknowledgement, and then as they get closer, they'll look away to give each other some space. In other cultures, people go to extraordinary lengths not to interact at all. People from Denmark tell me that many Danes are so averse to talking to strangers. They have that they would rather miss their stop on the bus than say, "Excuse me" to someone that they need to get around. Instead, there's the elaborate shuffling of bags and using your body to say that you need to get past, instead of using two words. In Egypt, I'm told, this is rude to ignore a stranger, and there's remarkable culture of hospitality. Strangers might ask each other for sip, a sip of water, or if you ask someone for directions, they are very likely to invite you home for coffee. You see, we see them unwritten rules most clearly when they are broken, or when you are in a new place, you are trying to figure out what the right thing to do is. Sometimes breaking the rules a little bit is where the action is. In case it's not clear, I really want you to do this, okay? So here's how it's going to go. Find somebody who is making eye contact. That's a good signal. The first thing is a simple smile. If you're passing somebody on the street or in the hallway, here, smile. See what happens. Another is triangulation. There's a stranger. There's some third thing that you both might see and comment on, like a piece of public art or somebody preaching in the street or somebody wearing funny clothes. Give it a try. Make a comment about that third thing and see if it starts a conversation. Another is what I call noticing. This is usually giving a compliment. I'm a big fan of noticing people's shoes. I'm actually not wearing fabulous shoes right now, but shoes are fabulous in general, and they are pretty miniatured as far as giving compliments goes. People always want to tell you things about their awesome shoes. You may have already experienced the dogs and babies principle. It can be awkward to talk to someone on the street. You don't know how they're going to respond, but you can always talk to their dog or their baby. The dog or the baby is a social conduit to the person, and you can tell by how they respond whether they are open to talking more. The last one I want to challenge you is to disclosure. This is a very vulnerable thing to do, and it can be very rewarding. So next time you're talking to a stranger and you feel comfortable, tell them something true about yourself, something really, really personal. You might have that experience I talk about of feeling understood. Sometimes in conversation it comes up. People ask me, "What does your dad do?" or "Where does he live?" And sometimes I tell them the whole truth, which is that he died when I was a kid. Always in those moments, they share their own experience of loss. We tend to meet disclosure with disclosure, even with strangers. So here is it: when you talk to strangers, you're making beautiful interruptions into the expected narrative of your daily life, and you're making unexpected connections. If you don't talk to strangers, you are missing out on all of that. We spend a lot of time teaching our children about strangers. What would happen if we spend more time teaching ourselves? We would reject all the ideas that make us so suspicious of each other. We could make a space for change. thank yous, applause.